Welcome everyone to Into the Cypher State. Hope I've got you up as co-host, Osmos. I did send you an invite, but I don't know how long it's going to take.
It shows me up here now.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Wonderful, wonderful. No worries, dude.
That was more me. I was just was daydreaming. I was kind of just fading into the music. You know what I mean? And oh shit!
It does that. It does that though, doesn't it? It's good shit.
It definitely
Nice.
does.
Okay, guys. Welcome to the show. We're going to be getting started in just a moment. For a start, if you guys could give us a like and a retweet on the space, please get the space out to as many people as you can. We like to be educational, and this is our Xmas special. So we are going to be doing some fun stuff today, just trying to figure out what everyone's been doing this year, what people are planning to do next year, getting through some awesome news. It's going to be a good time. If you wish to come up and speak, please do. You are more than welcome up on this stage. We are not exclusive here. And if you can give the Galactica.com profile a follow as well as Cosmos Hoss, that would be brilliant too. Okay, guys. First things first, I need to get through with a very quick disclaimer. It's very important to just remember that me, Cosmos Hoss, any team members that actually come up on the panel, we are your guides to navigating the Cypher State, but we are not your financial advisors in any capacity. Our guest opinions are their own, and nothing said in this space constitutes financial or investment advice. Cosmos Hoss, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing extremely well. Honored to be here. And yeah, if I knew everything, I would not have held UST as long as I did. And so I'm not your financial advisor. I think I know a lot, but it's impossible to predict everything, every outcome. And at the end of the day, we just all got to take responsibilities for our own actions. And I have nothing but utmost respect for those that do. And also those that come by and swing by and talk about crypto, learn about crypto, help others. And yeah, man, if you've been here throughout this entire year, it's been the synopsis is it's been a roller coaster, right? Like they say crypto really is, but this year has been extremely crazy. It started off where
it's been a whole
it's
year.
been so nuts, right? If you think about it, we'll just use Solana for example. Solana at the beginning of the year was under $10. Now it's at $100 basically. Injective was at $2. Now it's at $40, and it's an insane reality, but it's a lot of fun. Obviously, the energy and the emotion is a lot better when people look at their bags and it's doing better than it was, at the end of last year. It was really bad. 2022 year was pretty morbid around this space. And those that kind of stuck it out, maybe you're the ones that got lucky and were like, hey, I think Solana is a good investment, or Injective is a good investment, or T is a good investment, or whatever you threw your money into. I'm hoping you guys are in a better, men and women are in a better spirit this year. But the overall vibe of the space, I always was, I'm always optimistic in this space, and I think we're extremely early. But during the bear market, when it was kind of dark and morbid, and everyone was, kind of pissy, everyone that's building some cool things in here, that's just head down. They weren't deterred whatsoever, and it's really great from a perspective of usability. There's so many more things that you can kind of go to do now, as opposed to oh, everything's an idea. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of ideas, right? But you can actually do a lot more. So cheers to a really strong ending of 2023, and then it's to 2024 and beyond. So
100%, Hoss, 100%. As for us, obviously, we have been building absolute crazy this year. It's been a bit of a nutty one, and it's been a very, very good one for us. Before we crack on, we've got a new segment coming up, guys. But before we do that, I'd just like to invite anyone in the listener panel. First, thank you very much for joining us. Secondly, if you could give us a like and a retweet on the space, very much appreciated. If you have any questions, give us a comment. We will go through as much as we can. And yeah, if you would like to come up and speak, then please do. Just give us a request. We're happy to talk. We're very friendly people up here most of the time, unless we're in a bit of a mood, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, first things first, I want to get to the news. We have a couple of things this week. I think this one's kind of for you, Hoss, to be honest. The 2024 Ohio Senate race. So they've got two guys going head to head with each other. We got incumbent, who is Senator Sherrod Brown, and GOP opponent Bernie Moreno. They've got like very contrasting views on crypto policies, apparently. I kind of wanted to get your view on the political divide on the crypto thing. Like maybe just in brief, what you think of the left-right divide on crypto in the US.
Yeah, so I think I've said this a few times, like throughout our spaces over the year, but I almost think of the political sector in America more so when you want to compare it. And this is kind of a drastic comparison, but this is just like the vibe I get. Like the medical marijuana, whole vibe was the left was all about it, the right was like no. And then the tides have kind of changed in America politics, where it's like crypto is on the right and the left is like no. Just my general feel. That doesn't mean like, oh, you go vote this way or go vote that way or anything. It's just that's just the overall consensus. Like you can see one of those wacko bills that Senator Warren was trying to pass, and look at all the people that signed off on it. I think it was like I don't know how many signers, maybe 20 signers, and 19 of them were Democrats, and only one was supposedly a Republican. So that kind of tells you right there. She was trying to KYC any sort of application that a user uses, and that doesn't, which would obviously mean everything in crypto, but just like any application. And to me, that's just kind of it's insane, right? Like whether you're left, right, down the middle, whatever. To me, I don't want to live in a world where we're just like a nation state and just a select few people that they get to just control and view and invade our privacy on everything, you know? I just don't agree with it. I think over the 8 billion people plus that are on planet Earth, I would say majority of those individuals are probably good people, you know, and for someone to because there's some bad apples in the bunch that you just like police state everything we do. I'm not cool with it. Like I don't want to live in the world like that. I hope we don't get to that point, but it does seem more so right now that the left is kind of swaying towards that. Like there's no anonymity, there's no privacy, everything's out there, you know. And whenever someone says any point of view, regardless of whatever the topic is, and they're not using actual logic and statistical facts, they kind of lose me. And everything in this space, when it comes to arguing against crypto, seems like it's more emotional. You know, when someone leads, like their headline is like, well, crypto's used for funding terrorism. You lose me automatically. Can it be? I guess in theory, but like, hasn't like the word terrorism been along around a lot longer than crypto's been invented, or all the illegal activity and nefarious activities from drug lords, and since forever, since America's been established. Like to me, like
Hell
it's
yes,
just kind
man.
of you kind of just lose me, right? Like I don't care what side of the political spectrum you are on. If you start a conversation when it's like what for or nay when it comes to crypto, and you lead off with that, you just lose me right away. You have zero credibility. Now if you're just like, hey, it could do X, Y, Z bad, and this is why. Then maybe I'll start to listen to it. But until then, it's like just get lost. You're just basically one of these old. And no offense to not every boomer's like this, but you're just one of those old boomers that's just like, I'm not using technology. It's like no, the internet's a scam. That's like the kind of vibe I get from most of these politicians. Because let's face it, most politicians, they probably were in their 30s or 40s, and they had zero clue that there was going to be the internet or the cell phone. So like they really don't understand technology anyways, like on a core fundamental basis, let alone taking that and like it's like aggregating, right? It's like crypto's kind of like Web 2 on steroids. Like they have zero clue how to do any of this stuff. And hell, even if you're in the space a lot, you probably don't know how to do all these different things. So that's kind of my rant and my whole thing on it. Now, when it comes to the Ohio stuff, this like think of America like this. Every state, for the most part, it is anywhere that's rural or like out and about, like in the countryside, is pretty much 100% Republican. Any city in the country that's like a major city where like the major populace lives, for the most part, is Democrat. That is like America as a whole. So like every state, like I live in Pennsylvania. The entire state, if you took a picture, a snapshot of Pennsylvania, it's completely red. You got the left state side of the state, right where Pittsburgh is. It's kind of like a little bit blue, and then right outside of it's all red. And then you have Philadelphia. The whole area is completely blue. Like it's just completely blue. It's a tide of blue. And then the middle of the state, which is the state capital, you pretty much have blue. And everywhere else is red. Ohio's the same way. It's like the major cities, you get blue, and then everywhere else is red. Same thing with California, even California, right? Like California always is a Democratic state. Well, it wasn't back in the day, but now it is. And you look at like out and about in the countryside, it's like red. And then like you got LA, any major city, it's just blue. So it's like it's kind of like that's American politics as a whole, if you want to say how people are going to vote. So that's just my thing.
Yeah, you know what? That's absolutely that's something I did not know, and now I do, and I appreciate that. But my mistake was mentioning the word politics, and I apologize.
No, man, no,
No,
it's like a
it's
crappy topic, right? But it's kind of like sadly, as much as I hate politics, you kind of have to at least understand what their ideas is or excuse me. And I wish, my hope for America by the time I'm like an old boomer is that we have more than two parties and like a serious third party or a fourth party or a fifth party that like can kind of shake shit up.
more, just more than that, even. Like
It'll never change though, because the only way it's ever going to change, there's a couple things. One, there needs to be an age restriction for long time boomers that are in office, because like, everyone gets complacent at some point. Like you have a job and you do it forever, you get complacent unless you're just like a really true gritty person, which most people aren't. And two, they need to have restrictions on funding, right? If I'm some wealthy conglomerate billionaire, I could just fund my way into office by basically paying whomever's in there. Like I think most politicians, they probably start off and have good intentions, or good people, and then they just get corrupted by money, and then they get told what they can do, and then they're just like little puppets, right? And that's kind of like America politics, and it really won't change because there's just so much funding on both sides. Like like all Web 2, right? They just throw money and troves to anyone that's running for like the Democratic Party. Then the right side's like usually like the energy sector, or like the oil industry or whatever. It's like we're gonna just throw all our money at the right, and like that's just kind of like how it is. And it's just like, to me, to anything to drastically change, there has to be like a fundamental shakeup when it comes to like, hey, like let's just put a restriction. Any politician that runs for any office only gets up to this. If you go over this, you're automatically disqualified. You're barred from being a politician forever, right? And maybe it would make it more fair. But until then, America is going to continue to have the two-party system, and generally, this is the outcomes of everything. If a Republican wins and they're in there for 2 terms, generally every single time a Democrat wins. And then if a Democrat's in there for 2 terms, generally the right wins. It doesn't matter who they throw out there. They could throw a puppet out there. They could throw a cartoon character. That's kind of like how it works. It's just like you can study the numbers, and you might have a shakeup. Like Trump got in there, then Trump didn't win. Like that was kind of a shakeup. But generally, the law of average was like the Republican would have won 2 terms, and then the Democrats won two.
that
It's like
sounds an awful lot
back and
like that sounds an awful lot like when people like voter apathy. Like when there's an incumbent, it's just apathy, unless something horrendous or something really weird goes on, like with the Trump thing, I guess. But anyway,
yeah, yeah, no, no. I'll let you get into it, but like that's kind of like if you wanted a TLDR on like American politics, and then everything else is just kind of noise. Like everything else is like, oh my, it's like either social constructed garbage, or not that social issues don't matter, but like to me, for anything to fundamentally change, you need to change the monetary system and make it a more fair system. And I think the only solution for that is crypto, because it holds people accountable, and everything else is just it's a racket, man. Like the United States dollar since forever has been a racket. I mean, fiat in general for since humanity started has been a racket, and like there's been no accountability, and we all know that all a blockchain really is a decentralized accounting ledger, and everything's out there. It's out there, so it's there, and I think it's gonna work, man. Like you one by one, you get in other countries. The Argentina president, he's all about crypto, and you had the Costa Rican, or what was the other country that's all about it? Was it Costa Rica, or no, not Costa Rica? Smaller country. I can't think of the word, the country, but
El
it's gonna
Salvador, right?
happen. Yeah, that's it. El Salvador. I should have knew that. But one by one, it's going to happen, and people are just going to keep building. These engineers are the most brilliant human beings on planet Earth. They can fix any solution, any problem that arises. They're just brilliant. So, maybe
It's a
there's an
funny
issue
thing,
right now, but
actually. You
they'll
you,
fix
you
it.
mentioned Argentina. There's actually they're currently doing like a decree of necessity and urgency, which proposes like amendments to the civil and commercial code that allows people to use Bitcoin. Like it legalizes Bitcoin for contracts in the country. Like they're actually doing like they're actually shifting towards like economic deregulation on crypto, which I think is
Yeah,
incredible. It's glorious.
yeah. Well, the guy is like he's kind of like honestly he's. And I'm not saying like Trump is a savior or anything, but he's like kind of like a Trump. He was like a TV personality, and then he won, and he's like his thing was like, "There's too much government. We're gonna reduce it." And there was this really funny video of him having like all the directors of whatever sort of the um, governmental department it was. It was like government director of the energy sector. He was like he pulls it off the board. It was like on his whiteboard. He's like, it's all in Spanish, and he was like, whatever the sound was he was making. But it was hilarious. He was pulling them all off, like basically firing them all. Like they're done. And having experience with like the government side of things is like yeah, it's really like they're not your savior, they're not your friends. Can they help you? Yeah, I'm not saying like government's terrible. It's not at all. But when it's real big government and like there's just so many departments within departments and so much red tape, it's just not a good thing, man. Like you don't need all that. It's just like dead wood, right? It's like if you're in your job and like for example, Elon, when he took over Twitter, he fired so many people, and they asked him why. It was like because it's not efficient. We don't need all these workers. Like we just don't need them all. I don't want people to lose their jobs. I really don't. That's not my prerogative. But a lot of times you're more of a well-oiled machine. Like you could take this space for an example. Most blockchains that start off, if you ask teams, and I pretty much have conversations with every L1 ever in Cosmos, and from the startup or whatever their phase is. And if they're in the startup phase, you ask them like, how many people you got on your team? It's usually like around 6 to 8, maybe you get 12. But even if it's like a 12, most of them are part time. You're just like a well-oiled machine. It's like we can do all this work. We're trying to be financially responsible, and if you have a big organization, especially if it's taxpayers' money, you're not going to be fiscally responsible. The rule of thumb is, well, oh, we're on a contract, right? So, like, say it's every 3 years, and then the third year, maybe the whomever's in there running the ship is actually running a good ship. But you know what their logic is? Well, if we don't spend all this, we're not going to get the same budget, or get a bigger budget on our next contract. And that's kind of like the thing. Everyone knows that if you do any research or like you've been a part of any of these governmental decisions, they just kind of piss away money all the time because their logic is, well, we won't get the same amount of funding or we won't succeed the last round. And it's like, well, whose money is that? That's taxpayers' money. That's your money. That's my money. It's people that are paying taxes. And that's just like not accountable, right? Like you would be able to see that on blockchain. You'd be like, yeah, that was kind of stupid. You guys spent $2 million on a piece of software that you're not using, or 10 million on this, or like there's just no accountability. So my thing has always been we don't need as much government. Like let's reduce it a bit. I think we could still live without like 75 directors in every state doing this job and that job and this job and that job. So yeah, that's my rant. I'm over it. I'm fired up. You got me fired up, man, but I'm good. Let's go.
That's the way, man. That's what I'm intending to do. Just get you, just put a fire underneath your heels. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's one of the main things that we're actually trying to do over at Galactica. To be honest, is like try and like you really don't need big government at all. You need something to organize sovereign individuals, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to give people infrastructure that allows them to like any person to create a community in a decentralized manner that can serve sovereign individuals and have proper rule sets to govern them. Essentially, societies, like real societies, governed by a protocol, which is customizable to the people who are using it. If you could have everything from a pure meritocracy, something akin to what we're actually going for with our cipher state, which actually governs the protocol, Or you could come on Galactica and you could build a kingdom. You could be a king of your own state. You'd have to probably find some people to follow you, but that's a small issue. But in any case, you could do it. You could create something. You could create genuine rule sets that actually work in a social manner rather than just having token gated DAOs, which is absolutely incredible in my view. And I'm really looking forward to getting some communities going on chain when we go live on mainnet next year. So for anyone who is not aware, we are galactica.com. We are very thankful that you guys have come to listen to our show. This is our Christmas special, bit of a retrospective, doing a little bit. We've just done a bit of a new segment, basically trying to figure out what we've done in the last year, and we would love to know what you've done in the last year. So if you'd like, you can request to speak, come up and tell us what you've done this year in Web3, what you're proud of, what you've succeeded at, what you've sucked at. We love to hear
Yeah,
those
there's no
stories.
wrong. There's literally no wrong answers. Like you could just be like, I'm just better at navigating Web3. I'm better at using different wallets. I'm better. It's like, it's yeah. This space is amazing. Like you can always improve, right? Like I'm in it 12, 15 hours a day, basically nearly every single day. And I'm always improving on something because there's just so much to know, and it's so exciting because regardless of the financial wherewithal or the knowledge base or the data that you can jam in your brain, there's always something to do, always something to learn, and it's just an incredible time to be honest with you. It's I've never experienced anything like it, and maybe it'll happen again in 20, 30, 40 years from now. Maybe there's some sort of another renaissance, but besides the early the 90s and going into the 2000s, I don't think there's anything, especially technologically, that's been anything like that we're witnessing right now. And maybe for a lot it's kind of scary, but for those risk takers, I would assume most of us in here have a little bit of a risk tolerance. I think that it's going to lead you to prosperity as long as you're smart and you take care of yourself, and you're able to not only do well financially but able to sustain and keep that wealth. Because like I always tell people in here that come in, and I appreciate all of you obviously, is think of money as time, right? Like most of us have to devote so much time on planet earth to get this like time mechanism, also known as like money. It's like just some sort of bartering method to like basically freedom, in my opinion. So I think that crypto is about the only opportunity for people out there, unless you already are kind of financially set, then you can afford to make 5% in the money market or something and kind of just like sustain your wealth. But this space offers it because there's so much volatility. But that's technology as a core. You could just even look around Web 2 still, and Tesla and all these different tech investments outside of crypto, and it's just like Tesla's at $90, and then you look 2 months later it's $250, and like in the stock market that's insane. Like that just doesn't happen. Most people are super stoked if they get like 7% back on their money, or 9%, or hell, they had a great year, it was 20% up. Like that's, to me, like I'm not interested in that. It's just not, like, not saying that's bad, but no, if I was worth $100 million or something, then yeah, I would be interested in a pretty steady, 7 to 10 to 20% year over year. Like that would be great. But most of us came from nothing, and that's not really going to get you anything. You get $10,000 in your name, and you can get 7%. Like, what is that doing? That's just basically keeping you ahead of maybe one presidential cycle or two, and then someone just turns on the money printer, and then you're basically losing money. So yeah, this space offers it. Sadly, like we came to the conclusion, especially in America, where it's like you literally have to own things, or you're nothing. Like you'll never get ahead. You just bait like, and then some people sadly live in parts of America where they'll just literally never get ahead. Mainly all parts of California and stuff. It's like you're just never gonna get ahead. So yeah, you just kind of have to do it. And I wish nothing but like financial wealth for everyone, and success and freedom. And, that's what I love doing this. I want to be doing this the rest of my life. And I just think that this is pretty much the only space that can kind of offer that in troves. Is it risky? Oh yeah, it's risky. But, same thing with people that were back in the 90s, throwing their paychecks into like Microsoft, and then when Google eventually came out and Amazon and all these like it's all tech based, man. Like, I said this plenty of times. My great uncle was very successful. He did really well. He came from nothing. He wasn't some tech mogul, but he always told me since day one as a kid, he was just like, hey, I was like I wasn't even a teenager yet, and he was telling me this shit. He's like, when you get older and you start investing, if he's like, just invest in energy and technology, and just try to pick some right winners. And it was correct back in the 90s or whatever, whenever the hell he told me that, and it's still true to this day. And that about to be 2024. So I just kind of try to find a place, and it's out there. You gotta just do the work. There's a lot of research and opportunities, and I mean, like, just look at the market this year in crypto. If you were in here earlier and you had some cojones and you were throwing around money at the beginning of the year, like, you're up on everything, really. I mean, there's really nothing down, I don't think. So, shout out to you guys.
100%, 100%. I mean, we've all seen Solana ripping today, as well as over the last few days and weeks, I believe, as well as many other basically scalable solutions, which maybe aren't quite as secure or as decentralized. But it's one of those things that like it's we're in a narrative driven space, and sometimes decentralization is the narrative because governments are coming down hard on people, or there is people realize the value of sovereignty. But when people are relaxed and they don't have a problem, which is honestly a really nice thing about Christmas, is that when you have family around you, you have less worries. You're caring more about others than you're caring about your own situation. When people are less worried like that, they tend to forget the decentralization narrative and go for what makes a lot of sense to them. What makes, which is generally in this case, whatever's fast and whatever's scalable. I find it to be a very an optimistic time when people are just going for these fast scalable solutions and aping into all that. It's a good time. So first we have, I want to read out a comment before I just go to the new speakers. So we have Patrick Farron. As a Gen Xer, I would say that the US Constitution is one of the most beautiful documents ever written when properly read and honored. Web3 and decentralization equals freedom. And the US third political party, the Libertarians, the party of we the people. Very well said about the Constitution and Web3 and decentralization equaling freedom. As far as libertarianism, I like the idea generally, and it's something that I think gels very well with Galactica's ethos. We're more on the side of meritocracy, but they're very similar ethoses when it comes to lacking, in our case, lacking big government. So giving you a lot more control and sovereignty. So guys, we have some amazing new speakers with us. I'm going to throw it to Native. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. Love the conversation, boys. I hope you guys can hear me well. From your point of, what did we do well and what did we do not so well? So look back 2019, 2020, of just learning about investing and putting away wealth. And I was investing heavy in 2020. My investments went up, like went to the moon. Thought I was a absolute superstar. Came to 2021, going into 2022, I realized you could have thrown a dart at a dartboard and everything just went up. I also learned why everything went up so much and how much money was being pumped into the system, which was absolutely mind blowing and taught me how manipulated and how easily manipulated the system is, which is a little scary, and just taught me to actually take some wealth off the table, which I did, but I didn't tell. I took it off and then threw it back into something else. So that's something I've learned that I hope to take into the next couple of years of my investing and trying to build wealth, and take it off the table properly, put it into to metals. I like gold, silver, and crypto. The other thing I learned, which is a little bit scary, is how much. See, I reside in Australia, and I feel like Australia is very much the little test guinea pig for the world as far as ushering a new monetary system in, as far as CBDCs go, which I absolutely detest. The conversations I have with my peers, they don't really know what it is. They think it's just crypto, and I'm starting the conversation telling them why it's not like crypto, and it's just mind blowing to them, like the programmable money, and the possibilities that governments can have around it, the programming, and people just don't realize what's coming. And Australia is so far ahead, and I feel like Australia, in my opinion, will be one of the um, what are they, G20 countries, one of the biggest countries to usher this in, and countries like America will just be watching and see how it unfolds. I feel like we are the test guinea pigs, and it worries me for my children. So I'm trying to build their knowledge around how the system works, and what's coming, and how to be prepared for it. And I feel like true crypto ethos, is the way around it. Um, that's what I see coming, and that's what I've been digging into, and it's a big reason why I'm here at Galactica, because I feel like Galactica has the potential to navigate, um, sovereign individuals, and around this scary new system, in my opinion.
100%, man. I'm sorry that Australia is being treated as a hamster. That's a terrible thing. But yeah, see,
Yeah,
go on,
yeah.
Hoss.
I was gonna say no. I think he had brought up a lot of good points. See, I'm not like, do I want CBDCs? Absolutely not. But I'm also kind of in that category of I like if they really wanted to, in theory, right? Especially other countries. Now it would be a little bit more difficult in America because we still do have a democracy, and like stuff doesn't just get passed. Like you, if it did, we'd be all screwed by now. Because Senator Warren has tried about 150 proposals, and they all got flat out denied. Like so, whenever she shouts and pouts, it's just all nonsense. It's like, all right, it's just another stupid thing she's saying that's not going to get passed. But I'm like kind of the firm believer. Even I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I know everything about other countries and their political systems, but it's almost to the point like if you're that concerned, I mean, technically, I guess they could just do it now. They could just like shut your banks off. And I know there are countries that have been doing that. They give you withdrawal limits, and it is scary as hell. Like that's why it's like, hey, you can't go like there. If there was a bank run right now in America, they would have to do it too because it's all fractionalized nonsense. There's really no funds in banks right now. Like if I went in there and deposited 5K and then like 10 minutes later I came back and said, "Hey, give me that 5K." Like they won't give me it. Like that's kind of stupid. And obviously crypto is a solution for all this crap, and I think what Patrick's comment about the Constitution of the United States, like the founding fathers that created this, basically founded America, they would have embraced crypto without a doubt in my mind. Because it's like what I really love about crypto is that you're just basically it's freedom. That's all it comes down to. Like if you wanted one word to describe crypto, it's freedom. Is it crazy? Yes, but like I also live in the category, and I think most people in the world, especially younger people, for the most part, not saying everyone, you can't always say it about everyone. They really don't care what other people do. Like I don't care. Like my neighbors, like I say hi to them or whatever, but I don't care what they do. Like just as long as they're not physically trying to harm me or something, I literally don't care what they do. And I think it may take a couple decades because a lot of the people that are in power, and hell maybe some younger people, if they get this sort of power kind of ruins people, but the people in office, they tend to be older, and that's their go-to. Like that gets them going, right? Like, oh, I got power. And they overreach on things, but that's why you have to, I'll just use America. You need to like go and vote on your local municipalities, your local representatives, because that's where it all starts at. You can't just be like, oh, I'm voting. And what's sad is most Americans, they only vote for the president. Like, who gives a shit who the president is? Because like really, they don't do much. Like the federal does really much of nothing. All they do is fund more stupid shit and buy more tanks and do all this dumb shit that we don't need. And but you need your house in office. You need your local municipality and your mayors and your governors and all that. So like I know I'm going off the rails, but I'm not. I don't know. Like I'm not. Even if America adopted CBDCs, like I don't want it, but I don't think they're just gonna freeze it, right? Like they could, but I guess they could now. They're already starting to do that shit sometimes. If someone has like they're a bad actor, they'll kind of like blacklist your wallet address. And I kind of don't disagree with that. Like if someone hacks a protocol or some shit and they have all this money that's not theirs, like do you want them not to be able to get the funds back? I mean, I think there should be some sort of like wiggle room there.
Well,
But that's kind of my
I
thought.
think, Ross, like, I think honestly, the government's late. I genuinely think they're late. I don't think they've developed CBDCs fast enough in order to get them adopted by anyone with any sense. I think CBDCs and the concept itself really only works in a vacuum, devoid of any other genuine option. And I think with the adoption rate of crypto, genuine decentralized crypto, going as fast as it is right now, I just think they're late. I don't think people will adopt. We already see companies picking up crypto as their back end. We see even like giants like Visa testing this stuff. I mean, the governments are late on their CBDCs. I just want to go over to Native because he's got his hand up. If you can be brief, Native, because we've also got Tildorn on stage. I'd love to get some words from him. What's up, dude?
Yeah, no worries. Look, while I agree with that, there is a positive side to CBDCs. There really is, but the negative side that comes with it, like for example, if they're pushing their green agenda and they want to ration people on petrol, they can just program that money, and you can only buy X amount of petrol, you can only buy X amount of food. Your money won't work outside of your suburb, therefore you stay within your limits of your suburb. So while there are positive sides to it, I don't think you can have one without the other, and the other is just it's too much. The negative side to the other is not worth the the positive that CBDC offers. So and I see it happening. I see it happening where I am. KFC in New South Wales are no longer accepting money. All the 7-Elevens now are starting to go cashless very slowly. This is a new story that's just come up, and I see it in the news, and it's slowly been happening over the last year and a bit, and it just keeps happening. But that's it, boys. Thanks for letting me up, and yeah, great conversation. Cheers.
Hey, Native, do you know? Because we get this crap too here. Like you can go to like a sporting game and it'll be like cashless, and it's so annoying because when you go and buy something from these places, by default it'll have a tip on there. It's like, who the hell am I tipping? Some robot? Like I'm not trying to give you. It's like I feel like it's criminal. Like you go to these places, and by default it'll like make you pay $3 unless you like go out of your way. It's like, oh, I'm not even tipping anyone. Like what are you doing? Like you should give me $3 if anything. But anyways, that's my thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it does give you the option to tip of notice now. Yeah, there are a lot of changes coming through whenever I go pay for something now. So I see the change coming, definitely.
The change better come. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Into the Cypher State. This is the premier public broadcast of Galactica.com. We are a nation state on chain. We are also infrastructure for you to build your own nation states. With that level of social cohesion and interoperability, it is a very special blockchain. You need to check out our profile, give us a follow, jump on the Discord, and join the Cypher State campaign to get your citizenship and earn your UBI, government protocol, all that fun stuff. Join the Discord. Definitely worth it. Till Dawn, welcome to the stage, man. How has your year been?
Can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, the year has been a little bit of a roller coaster. I have to be honest, but I agree with Horst. If you started investing over the last probably 12 to 13, 14 months, you're pretty much well and truly up now, which I quite like, and I'm glad that I actually found a Galactica network too, and also that Horst is here because he sort of dragging me a little bit into the Cosmos ecosystem as well, which is great. it's a lot of good topics here. I just want to touch on a few things. Normally, I don't speak much on spaces like this, but when we talk about how people are going to go ahead, wealth and things like that, I think sometimes there's a bit the narrative out there from governments for the citizens like own nothing. Okay, because if you own nothing, you're dependent. You're 100% dependent, and that's kind of it's the feeling I'm getting, everything, cost of living are rising. I'm in Australia too at the moment, living here for the last 13 years. And what I never understood is in Australia, they need to have debt. Okay, you need to have debt have a credit history, a good credit history. So you need to have debt to pay 5, 6, 7, 8% interest later on to make the bank richer, the government richer for, you know, making money from people they're working 2 jobs because they can't afford to live otherwise, and giving nothing back. You get 0. whatever percent on your term deposit, but you get charged 5 or 6% interest. I mean, what is this? I mean, seriously. But you need to have that, otherwise you don't get your mortgage or your house loan or your car loan approved. Wouldn't it be another way around, saying, okay, the better you're in savings, the more money you're making, pretty much you showing that you actually can manage your funds, your money, your wealth, and it would be easier for you to get a mortgage or a loan. It's not. Okay. That's I never understood here. Another thing I want to touch on is when we talk about digital and obviously going away from cash, as well as COVID pretty much has shown us how many small companies and we have to say private contractors actually went down because all of a sudden they couldn't go to people's houses anymore and then could do cash jobs. So the government is cracking down on things like that because they're afraid to the max that they're missing out on all the tax money. A tradie might not pay them because they're doing cash and hand jobs to help someone out who otherwise wouldn't been able to afford to pay for the tradie, including taxes, because the prices are so high. There's all things like this. That brought me to Web3, and I'm sort of took this in my own hands as the same as native said, just to gain wealth, and don't leave this up to a bank or someone else, because it's it clearly doesn't work out for me, or I've seen it with friends and family. It just doesn't work out. You've been told you're living in a lucky country, um, which is not so lucky, to be honest, if you open your eyes and actually have a look what is going on in the world. One more thing, just want to touch on the digital yen. We talked about, that institutions, or say businesses, going away from cash. Uh, and if your money is controlled, what I've heard, I'm not sure if this is 100% true, but I was in the works saying, okay, you get paid, comes back to nothing. You get paid your wages, and if you don't spend your wages, pretty much your bank account, your digital yen or whatever your digital currency would be wiped at the end of the month. So you're back to square one. This is another risk we might see, and we have seen in countries in recent years that all of a sudden, the withdrawal limits, all of a sudden there was a complete block. The money was wiped from accounts. But say trust the bank. As far as I'm concerned, I don't trust the bank. I trust myself, because it has been proven that you can't trust the banks. That's just my take on it. Thank you.
Sovereign custody of your assets is just the most important advancement in technology we've had in the last decades. It really is. There's nothing else to it. And that's, and it goes beyond that even. Crypto goes far beyond that. It's not just sovereign custody of your assets. We're moving into an age where we can sovereignly hold our data, our identity, and our reputation too. And that's the only way to go in the face of things like CBDCs and overbearing governments. Cosmosos, go on, man.
Yeah, man, it's I say it all the time, and like one of the reasons I kind of got involved in this space, like my background's in accounting and finance, and I have like governmental background, and yeah, it's like crypto is the last hurrah. It's like the last chance to. Honestly, I say it. I'm not even trying to be like funny or anything, but I truly mean it. I think it's like the last chance to for humanity to like right all these wrongs and build a better future, because sadly, it's been like this since day one, since humans been around. Like the monetary system is what controls us, and like that's why I always think of it as a symbolization of your time, because really that's all it is. And I've said this on time in and time out. and brought this movie up. But like, if you really want to watch a good movie that kind of like gets into my mindset, is watch, and I think it's called In Time. And it's not the best acting, but it's a really good symbolic way of like viewing the world, and it really is. And if the banks control everything, and I don't think all banks are bad, but the problem is that, like, I'll use America. I'm sure it's like this in other countries too. It got to be really commercialized, and anyone that was a small bank, they make it like nearly impossible. So like, say me and other crypto people, we all got together and we're like, hey, we want to start up a bank, and we'll all put in whatever the fee is to get in there. It's like impossible to have a bank. It's like they want just the Jamie Dimons and all these people. And the fact, like, recently Elizabeth Warren was on stage at like a Senate hearing or whatever, bitching and moaning about crypto, and none of her shit makes any sense. But she basically was asking questions to a guy that's been fined billions of dollars for just bad acting, just like being just bad actor. And it's like, why is this guy even allowed to have a say, right? And because he's JP Morgan, and they want into this space. They all want it. It's like a playground for them, anyways. So sadly, they're going to be in the space, but that's what's great about this technology. And one of the reasons I really like Cosmos is that you can't really control it. So it's like you can get in here and whatever, but you can have your little friends in your posse, and they can be over on this side of the galaxy, but we'll be over we'll be over here, and we'll do what we want. So I do feel bad for those countries and people out there that like, they do this shit, the withdrawal limits, because it's really criminal. It's true. It's really criminal. It should be like a violation on humanity that you get told what you can and cannot do with your time, because that's all money is. It's like, hey, no, you can't do that. Well, maybe I wanted to buy this. Well, you can't do that because of why? Like, because you're my savior. Like, you're not my savior. And people need to wake up. They sit here and they worry about stupid shit, and that's what's the problem with most humans. It doesn't matter where you're from. Most humans are just so clueless, man. Like, it's sad. Like, I know America, for example, and there's a lot of brilliant people, but man, there's a lot of dumb people too. And I hate to say it, I'm not trying to be rude. It's the Christmas vibes, but you have to take care of yourself. If you have to try to relocate somewhere, just do what you need to do. That's all I tell people. Just, you got to do what's best for you, because at the end of the day, they don't care about you. You're just like you're an ant to their magnifying glass, and they don't care. And it's sad. It's sad that that's the way it is. But yeah, man, crypto's great because everyone has a smartphone. It doesn't matter where you're at. I don't care if you're in some like African village. You probably have a smartphone. And I feel terrible about your conditions of where you're at, but at least you have some sort of hope. Because like, without hope, like, what's the point of any of this stuff?
Hope, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That's crypto all over. I think we really need to be taking care of ourselves, exactly like you say, Hoss. So we have another speaker on stage. We have Triggs. I want to say hello. Let's give him a fanfare. That's the wrong button. That's the wrong button. There we go. Fanfare. How you doing, Triggs? I tried. I'm sorry.
No, it was great. I loved it. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, I've been really appreciating listening to everybody's perspectives and like what brings you, what's brought you good vibes and bad vibes this year. One of the things that I've really learned and was reflected by some of the comments that other people made is that there, you have to look at who's in control. Haas said it, it's like it's all about power. And the biggest thing that I learned this year is that crypto is no different. The people in crypto are the same people that are in the traditional world, and they're driven by the same, desires for power and control. And thinking about like see the centralized coins of banks creating these programmable money that they can enact more power and control over users. And honestly, crypto is no different. All cryptocurrencies are programmable money. That's the point of cryptocurrency, is that it's programmable money. But the issue that is really significant is who's doing the programming. And that's why we don't want the central banks to be making these tokens, these new stable coins that they control the programming of, because we don't have any say then. They control everything about us, just like they control the current fiat system. And so moving into the crypto space, what's really important as we explore these things and learn about crypto and experiment with these new tools and technologies is we have to ask that question of who's in control of this new currency that I'm playing with, or this new, token or whatever. And that's going to answer the question of whether or not you're actually buying freedom or you're just exchanging one, slave owner for another. And we can't let ourselves go down this same route of letting cryptocurrencies like aggregate around centralized agencies that control everything just the same way that the banks control it. And that's why we have to, really keep our an open mind to decentralization. The narrative of decentralization is not a hot topic right now, like we've been mentioned a few times. People are kind of moving away from that. We're getting comfortable, or thinking about other things. But at the end of the day, that's the reason why we're here. Haas said that this is the last, probably the last chance that we have to make a difference, and that difference that we have to make is by prioritizing decentralization, because this money is always going to be programmable, whether it's fiat, whether it's digital, whether it's tokenized on a blockchain, doesn't matter. It's always going to be controlled by somebody. But if we build the system in such a way that we all have sovereignty over that control, then and we all have a say in it, and hopefully some meritocracy around it, then that's the future that enables something different and not just more of the same.
Oh, that was so beautifully said. Just freedom of choice, guys and girls. If you are enjoying what you are listening to, guys, which you damn well should be, it's sovereignty and freedom. We should be saying, we should be saluting this stuff. Give us a like and a retweet on the space. It's we're trying to provide education. We try and provide value to you, and I think our speakers always do. So if you can give us a like and a retweet, that's your contribution to the space, and I appreciate it. I would like to get everyone's opinions on a slightly, well, on a tangential but very similar topic. We've been kind of talking about what we have been doing during this year. We've also talked about the value of decentralization and sovereignty in the face of things like CBDCs and oppressive government. Now I would like to know, I would like to go a bit future looking. I would like to get some opinions from the panel of what they are looking forward to in 2024 in the Web3 space, where they think it might be going, what you are excited for, anything you wish, really. I would love to go. Oh, Hoss, you got your hand up. He was like lightning. Go
I
for
mean,
it, man.
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut the line here. I'm excited for so many things, man. Like, I think 24 is going to be a year. I don't know when about in 2024, but I think that there's going to be just like a trove of users that come in. I think that blockchain gaming is going to be a really good player that's going to have a lot of people come over. I know there's a lot of people in this space that are working on a account abstraction, and for those that don't really know what that is, it's more just the Web2 feel. You can elect into really not as much security, knowing like, hey, I need to know the seed phrase, or I need to know how to use this wallet or that wallet. I'm very interested in the fact of that. Obviously, artificial intelligence is going to be a big player. It has been. It's been around forever, longer than most people realize. That's just getting better by the moment. It's crazy how great and good that AI is. I think wallets are getting better, as in some of them are kind of merging. They're kind of bringing everything together, so you don't have to get more than one wallet. Sometimes you still need more than one, but it's getting there where you can do just one. And just so for those that out there that don't know, really all a wallet is just like a browser extension. It doesn't like hold your keys or anything. Like, no, I don't really say it doesn't hold your keys, but they're all kind of interoperable. It doesn't matter. You have a phrase, and it can interact with any of the wallets basically. So I think even that though, I think that's getting better, where you can be someone that's just like wants to sign up with your social handle and like interact with gaming or socialfy or whatever, but still kind of be leveraging the best parts of blockchain. So I'm kind of interested in that, because that's kind of been the biggest barrier. Like one of the, even like Cosmos, for example, recently, there's a team, Mystic Labs, that came out with it's basically like Cosmos Snaps. So you can use MetaMask like you currently do if you're just like an EVM person, but you can also just be able to do things in Cosmos with that same kind of MetaMask feel. Because people get used to what they're used to, right? And most people don't like change. So like a lot of times the hindrance and fragmentation in this space is because people are used to and they're familiar with what they are doing, and they don't want to have to learn like a new, call it a language or just a new way of doing things, because we're all limited with our time. So I'm just kind of interested in that, because I think Cosmos as a whole was bringing a lot of blockchains together, where you can kind of, like we were saying, freedom. You're kind of just free to roam around the blockchain space without, having like really high risk of security from going from one blockchain to the other, and just kind of just, you like your app, go play on the app, and you don't need to know all this shit. Like, you just don't need to. So like that's the main thing that I'm interested in. It kind of is boring, but in order for this space to like flourish, it needs to be super simplistic, so everyone can just like do whatever they enjoy doing without having to know all the intricacies of like how to really be real safe and secure. Not that that's not important, but like that's kind of the vibe right now. So I'll
I
pass
got
it
you, man.
over. Yeah,
No, man.
that's what I'm.
But I wanted to say I apologize for throwing 100 emoji when you said you were being boring. I wasn't meaning that. I meant 100% on the interoperability part. I promise.
Hey man, I full disclosure, I wasn't looking at my phone, so even if you didn't say
Okay,
that,
okay. I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have said anything.
but
In any case, yes, interoperability, boys and girls, and freedom of choice. You mix those two things, and you get a beautiful system in which, for example, we are calling our governance layer and our part of our blockchain that governs our protocol the cipher state. It's simply a blockchain protocol that allows you to prove yourself. So it's proof of humanity while maintaining your privacy, and basically providing enough social infrastructure that you can provide a genuine citizenship to that protocol. Now, there are a bunch of protocols out there who are working on very similar things, very different ways of doing it, but very similar like outcomes they're going for. In that they're trying to provide an environment in which humans can exist in a fair environment on chain, and any of these protocols can be considered cipher states. Now, all the cipher state is essentially a set of rules under which you can live and you can operate and you can transact. Now, if you don't like the rules of the system you're living under in an interoperable environment, that allows for sovereignty, you can just move to another one. This is the beauty of blockchain, of interoperable blockchain. If you don't like your social institutions, you go find another cipher state. You go find another blockchain to go and interact with. It's a beautiful thing, and I think it should be celebrated at every opportunity. You are listening to Into the Cipher State, guys. Please give us a like and a retweet. I want to throw it to Triggs, Tildorn. You can fight amongst yourselves.
Well, I guess I'll jump in. Save till dawn for last. You can close this out. I'd say the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, I mean, you just pretty much described it right there, but it's self-sovereign identity. I think that identity is going to be such an amazing unlock. And I say that because honestly, like the investing part of crypto is the least interesting part of crypto to me. I mean, I dabble in investments and I've bought some coins here and there, and I've got some bags that I want to see numbers go up on, because that's life. Got to have wealth, right? We're here to build wealth, but that's not my purpose in crypto. And I'm looking so much more forward to when we can unlock this new form of existence, this new form of interacting and coordinating with each other. And a good friend of mine, Brian Peets, is I've been repeating this a lot. I've been in a lot of like DAO panels building decentralized organizations, and what he keeps repeating is that work is the new play. And that's the unlock for crypto that I'm excited about. Is Haas was talking earlier about like accessibility is such a huge part of crypto technology, and I believe that to be true, specifically for this reason of developing a new way for us to all work and engage and build and just be a part of life. And if everyone has equal access to this technology so that they can all participate on an equal footing, and it removes all of this like prejudice and privilege and limitations that hold, everyone else back, and gives certain individuals the, the ability to kind of stand up on top of the rest of our shoulders, but rather we're all just equals that are entering in this field where we can just pursue our own passions and our interests and congregate together in network states or whatever types of organizations we get involved in, and be amongst a group of peers and have meritocratic distribution of value that's created within those groups. And that's gonna change the way that we live. And no longer is it gonna be like waking up to go, do the 9 to 5 grind so that you can get your little paycheck. So you can't even afford to buy anything really with it. You're just surviving. Like that's got to go. And this is the self-sovereign identity is the building block that we need to unlock all of those things that we can do with cryptocurrency. We haven't even started tapping into it. All this investment stuff is just like the really boring base layer stuff that is all going to just kind of be like, just like everybody's got a bank account, everybody's got a debit or credit card, everybody's got their like investments in crypto. It's like blah blah blah. Who cares? What are you building? What are you doing? What groups are you in? What network state are you a part of? That's the stuff that's going to be awesome.
Absolutely beautifully said, Triggs. I kind of consider like the financial rails that we've built as an industry in these last 15 years or so. I kind of consider them as the just this infancy. They're just they're the things we're doing while we're bored while we're building. I think that's pretty much how I consider it right now. And I loved what Hoss said about accessibility, and you kind of touched on it too. I loved that you brought up account abstraction as well, because that's something that really, really helps. Obviously, there's a bunch of there's a small number of us who are freedom sovereignty maxis who are capable of being our own banks, who are capable of making these decisions. We want to obviously, as an industry, educate and adopt as many of those people as humanly possible, turn as much of the world into sovereign individuals who understand these things as possible. But for the rest of the world, the account abstraction really helps. If we take our ethos, our honesty, and our brilliance as builders, we take that and we provide account abstractions for people who don't understand, who need some kind of third party in order to become on board. But then we give them the opportunity to become sovereign individuals when they understand it, after we've educated them, but we still allow them to use the rails. I think that's it's such a beautiful thing to see, and I absolutely love that concept. Okay, guys, we have till dawn, so please, man, what do you think about next year, dude? What are you excited for, or what do you think is going to hold? Bow, 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 bow. I don't have a sound effect for that. I'm sorry.
You could do this one. Well, anyhow, that was really well said by all of you. Yeah, that was really well said by both of you. It's just amazing, man. Like it is what it is. I don't work 9 to 5. I work like 8 to like midnight. Like I don't sleep, but like it feels great because I feel like I'm doing something important. And most people that have a 9 to 5, they just are doing something to pass time, basically to be miserable during that 9 to 5. And it's just like not it's not designed like that. Is not how humanity was supposed to be designed, especially developed humans. Like we're developed now. Like we can land shit on Mars and stuff. Like we're developed. We don't need to be doing this nonsense. Like people are scared of AI and all this. Like I'm not at all. I'm like whatever. You know what I mean? Like I like the unknown, the uncertainty. I'm so tired of just like the same shit that we've been doing, forever. It's like, oh well, people of this get all the rewards. They reap the rewards because like family wealth has been passed down for generation and generation, and typically not all of it, but most of it was made off of by basically just intermediating fees that are just nonsense. Like right, it's just like the fact that when I knew we needed to change is like I don't know what year it was, But then when it came kind of like a necessity and like a priority for any bank, now this doesn't apply to all banks because I'm a big believer in like credit unions and things. I don't know if other places in the world have it, but credit unions are pretty chill. Like, they don't have any fees. They actually give you give you money if you like. I could use my debit card, and maybe that particular ATM isn't affiliated with it at the time. It might have a fee to use it, but then my bank will just like just basically reimburse me. But anyways, where I was going with that is like when I really knew that there needed to be a shakeup is, well, one, you put your money in the bank and you couldn't get any sort of interest on it, or when you started like here back in the day, like when I was born, you could get saving bonds, like a government saving bonds for like 30 years, and it was like good interest, like legit. It was like it was a solid investment. But then when it came to like you put the money in the bank, and in fact you're losing money, and then also they start charging you fees to hold on to, well, to not even hold your money because they don't even have the money in the account anyways. It was like, well, what is this shit? I think it was Till or maybe I can't. The other speaker was touching on it really deeply from their perspective in their country. That's when it's like, all right, man, this is scary shit that you're taking my wealth, my time that I had to devote, and then you're going to charge me fees, like to take my own, like just that for you to hold on to this shit. It was like that's when it became like, all right, man, like this is scary, and it is scary. You see these countries where you can't even withdraw the money and stuff, and you go to Turkey and they have whiteboards and they have to erase the whiteboards to keep up the current prices because it's so highly inflationary, and the people are just kind of stuck hostage. Like that shit is scary, and that's not cool. And all that stuff for the most part was human greed over something, whether and another thing that we didn't really touch on that I'm like really optimistic about crypto is I just believe that there would be less war. Like think about if every country had most wars are fought over like gold or resources. Now, there's still technically probably will be war because like some countries, I wouldn't want to live in a country where it lacks resources. Like me geographically, if you have the opportunity, like I'm talking to anyone out here, if you live in a country that needs other countries to live, I would highly recommend you look somewhere else, honestly. And it might be scary to think like that, but I would not want to live in a country that doesn't have everything. Like America, for example, we don't need anyone. We don't need anyone. Even in my state. I can live off my land. There's animals everywhere if I had to hunt. There's natural water. Like there's natural resources. And I hate to be some cavalier or something, but like we have everything here. We don't need another country. Like if I lived in a country where we needed like their power to like power my home, or we need like whatever, I honestly would be scared to live there. That's just me, and I'm not trying to be some like gloomer and like think doom and gloom, but that's just my honest opinion. But no, seriously, in all seriousness, I think crypto makes the world a safer place because like most wars are fought over like gold bars and stupid shit. So it's like, that's just me though.
I think most wars are generally fought over very, very stupid reasons. But people are passionate, and passion turns into terrible things when when it goes the wrong way. Beyond that, though, guys, you are listening to Into the Cypher State. This is the premier public broadcast of Galactica.com. We are a nation state that will provide you with a citizenship, a UBI, various benefits in addition to that. It basically allow you to be a dual citizen with a protocol for the first time in history, alongside your home nation state and any other citizenships you may hold. So check out the profile, join our Discord to find out how to become a citizen of our Cypher State, and we'd be happy to help you there. For anyone who's eagle-eyed enough, you will have noticed that over the last hour I have had the claim link available in the comments and in the pinned post for your reputation token provided by creds.xyz. This is a really cool reputation platform. That has been brought up by the Check.io team. So you should check out their platform, and you should definitely claim your reputation token because that may well have some benefits for you in the new year. Okay, guys. So I would just like to basically close out the space with one more question, if you guys don't mind. Anyone at all may still request to speak. We're probably going to be going for about another 15 minutes, I would say. So if you'd like to come up and speak, you are more than welcome. You are always welcome up on this stage. If you want to comment, please do, and always like and retweet the space because, as Hoss always reminds us, it is free. So the question,
And before you do the question, and like we're in a time of the year where you're supposed to do random acts of kindness beyond your, you're supposed to do it all the time because that's like a beautiful thing to do. And I need to like take my own wording here and do that more often, like outside in real life. I think I do a good job here in this space, but maybe not as much in real life. But yeah, it's a random act of kindness, a simple like and a retweet, and maybe it gets out, maybe it helps change someone's perspective or their outlook on life or crypto as a whole. So you never know. Anyways, go ahead with your next question.
100%, Hoss, 100%. My next question is along the same lines. So, what are you getting for Christmas, or what are you doing for Christmas? Till Dawn, I'm going to ask you first because I'm not sure if you're still here. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Are you here, Dawn? I don't think he's here. Triggs, what are you doing for Christmas, man?
This year, I'm actually just laying low. A lot of my family was traveling out a ways to visit other family elsewhere, and yeah, so I don't really have any big plans. I'm thinking just like me and the lady friend are gonna sit down and have a nice dinner, enjoy some quiet time. I mean, I'm kind of like Haas. I'm just on this space, like 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. So trying to probably just going to take a load off, not think about crypto for a day, not talk about it. Maybe, talk to the girl about some real things instead of annoying her about everything that I'm doing in crypto that she doesn't care about. Yeah, so that's my Christmas plans.
That's a good plan, man. Yeah, it sucks to tell your other half that oh no, my net worth has now been cut in half. Whoops. Yeah. So
Hey man, my words for Triggs, as long as she supports you, it's all good. Maybe over time you can just like organically get her into this space. But no, yeah, I'm the same as Triggs. Yeah, go ahead to pass it over. If you want me to go, I can
I
go.
was
But
going to ask you anyway, Hoss. What are you doing? What are you
yeah,
getting?
so I think that's a good perspective from Triggs. I was actually probably going to do this after Christmas. I have a few days off where like I think I'm just going to take like a couple of days where I'm in the same boat. I'm not going to think of it's impossible to not think about crypto, but actually force myself not to check crypto, not even to tweet maybe, because obviously if I tweet, I'm going to think about crypto and look at stuff and maybe just go rogue for like 2 or 3 days. But as for like Christmas, yeah, kind of laying low too. It was just yeah, laying low. Gonna hang out the house. Just enjoy some Christmas time, some Christmas music. I'm going to my family's on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day probably just chilling, man. Have a good dinner and just have a good time, man, and just enjoy life. And more so, probably do more activity going into. I don't know how you guys are, but like I kind of like party more and kind of vibe more on like New Year's Eve and going into the New Year because it kind of in my opinion, kind of sets the tone even more when it comes to your outlook and perspective on the new year. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try to prioritize my goals a little bit more in 2024. Not that I'm not gonna do as much crypto, but I think that one of my goals, and it's a kind of a scary goal, and a lot of people don't realize this, but like I still do have a real job and real life, and I work from home. But I think that's going to come to an end here. My goal is at some point in quarter 1 to kind of just tell them to piss off and thank you for their time and service. But I'm to a point where it's hard. I'm like passing up opportunities and like my passion, and sometimes I kind of get fried and burned out because it's really hard to do both as much as I would love to keep doing both. And my real job, if you want to call it, if you're looking from an outside perspective, not in crypto, it's like just kind of a distraction from what I want to be doing. And I just love this space, and not that I don't put in 15 hours in this space. I just for like 7, 8 of them, it's kind of like a 50-50 marriage. It's like I want to put everything into this space that I can, and just keep developing and learning and growing, and just go for it, right? Like, and Trig said it early. You can invest, and like you kind of have to because it's like I guess your financial score in the game. But as for being involved, like every single person that's listening to this space or ever listens to this ever in their lifetime can get involved in this space because it really is like very communitarian. I may disagree a little bit on the centralization aspect that Triggs was saying, but I do get where he's coming from because, I mean, there has to be a little bit. It's really nearly impossible for everything to be decentralized because someone has to have some sort of central identity to like develop and have a group of individuals that build out cool code and things. My only concern or thing would be for people to finish what they start. You know, 'cause sometimes you get people that kind of just keep moving around as developers or teams or organizations, just like build this existing tech and just keep improving on it. And I think one of the things that Solana has for them is like that's kind of their ethos, and they kind of got rid of all the bad actors that were like giving the money and doing stupid shit with the money. It seems like they cleared out the deadwood, but I'm just like super optimistic. I think we're gonna look back in like 10 years from now, and everyone that kind of just sustained their effort and kind of kept developing and learning and growing this space is probably going to be set for the rest of their life. It doesn't matter what you have in the game financially, in my opinion. I think it's the sky's the limit. I think it's just like an inevitable force, like a train that's coming in at 80 miles an hour, and the track is up there, and it's just not going to get derailed. Like it's just going to blow past whatever little thing that they put on the railway or whatever. So super optimistic. I just love this space and all the people that show up and tweet and add comments and all of it, man. Like that's what I really do it for is for that. Like cool, maybe I make some money in 5 years from now and I'm set for life. That would be great, obviously, but I would want to still be doing this shit because this is fun. It's like amazing. And that's what I'm gonna leave the little rant here. But yeah, thank you everyone for like amazing 2023 because I think it's been a hell of a ride this year compared to other years. I think it's been just great, man. It's nice to see all the people that stuck it through the bad times because it's easy to just tap out and say, screw it, I'm done. Like crypto's a scam, like it's not gonna work. But the ones that really believe it, like I really have nothing but respect for all of you.
Well said, horseman. Choo choo, MFers. Web3 train coming through. So we've got Tildorn back. I want to see if you're here. Hopefully it all works.
I hope so too. Can you hear me now?
Yes, mate. Yes, mate.
Awesome. My mic crapped out, so I had to go back to the phone. I don't really know what to say after Hoss. You pretty much touched on everything. For me personally, I'm looking forward, obviously, to hopefully the testnet and later on in the second half of the year, the mainnet launch for Galactica network. I'm overly excited about this. And also, even if what Hoss said, the technical side might not be his thing. I'm more interested in the tech, okay, for myself to learn more. My background is probably, I don't know if you guys know or not, I mentioned it, I think once or twice, it's just coming from kind of the side of crypto mining, proof of work, going down to proof of stake. And I'm just interested in the tech side of things. So that's what I'm looking really forward to. Apart from that, I just want to chill out going into 2024 because I know it's going to be for crypto, it's going to be a big year next year. I'm just leaning back, enjoy the ride, and then appreciate everyone actually I met this year in the space. I learned a lot of good people here, a lot of knowledge to share, and I'm grateful to be here with you guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
And Merry Christmas to everyone, guys. So
Merry Christmas. Hey, if you still mine, is it like what do you mine? If you don't mind me asking, like if you still mine, what are you mining?
Look, I shut pretty much GPU side of things. I do CPU mining, which I mine mostly Sapphire, Monero, and get paid in a different crypto, so I don't have to do an exchange for it. Or I do mine Grincoin at the moment, a privacy coin as well. That's just for a few years now. That's just my thing on the side, but it's not that I make a lot of money out of it. As I said before, I just believe in it, and I just want to support that space. So that's more an ethical thing for me to do. And sort of in the process as well, getting a little bit more energy efficient here, get in touch with some people to pretty much run all the systems on Solar. As I said, I just want to support the blockchain projects, want to be part of it. And as I said, I'm not in there to make big dollars, and ETH is gone. So this time has passed. But for me, it's just, I just want to continue what I'm doing because I just love what I'm doing.
I think just on a full last note, I think Ceph is probably going to be pretty good. I had mine every once in a while, but for some reason it like messes my it messes my Wi-Fi up. So I just stopped doing it because my wife will be like, I can't watch whatever she's trying to stream. I guess it's like running too much power or something. I have no clue. But no, on a full note, I respect that, man. Like mining, and even if you're running like I run only one, I actually have two nodes, but running validators is pretty cool too because you're a part of it too. Like you're doing
Yeah.
everything you can to add value to the decentralization. So anyone out there that's listening to this, yeah, I know people. I know how to do it. I know how to CLI, and but I also know people that can help. So if you're someone that's like, hey, I got a decent amount that I would like to start up my own node, or maybe you just want to mess around. I mean, I know people that can help. So like if anyone's ever interested in like running a validator like in Cosmos on any of the chains or just in crypto in general, like I'm here to help with that too, because it is pretty cool to do that. Because it's like, man, this is pretty cool. I have my own server and like I'm actually helping the network and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I definitely gonna get back to you on that one because I'm about to set up a validator for Secret Network. I do run around 34 validator nodes at the moment for different blockchains. As I said, I just love it, man, and that's what I want to continue to do, and that's why I'm so excited about be part of the testnet. And as I said, mainnet later on for Galactica network. I got 2 servers already set up; they're good to go, and I'm also being in talks with hosting provider for VPS. So just for people who are not so tech savvy, they might be able to, if it's possible, run a validator node in the testnet for Galactica network. Because I remember Lou was talking about it, that they hope to get a few people onto it. And yeah, just sort of preparing this. And if the team needs it or is interested in, at least we got nodes and servers ready to get deployed, for people who are interested in and don't have the opportunity to do this from at home. Yeah.
Beautiful, Tildon. Beautiful. It's so nice to see people who are so passionate about building the infrastructure for blockchain and maintaining the infrastructure and bringing us that security that's needed. It's absolutely wonderful. For myself, I am going to be very much chilling with my wife and my 2-year-old daughter. I've made sure there's loads of Christmas presents under the Christmas tree. It's like a first Christmas where she like understands what's going on. She knows that Santa's coming and she's excited as hell. It's going to be a good one for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. After that, chilling, drinking, probably some kind of falling down, but it's going to be a good Christmas. So you guys have been listening to Into the Cypher State, everyone. This is the premier public broadcast of Galactica.com. Check out the profile, join our Discord if you want to become a citizen to the very first Cypher State. This is something that is you'll basically be able to become this is not just some like citizenship in name only. This is a genuine citizenship to a protocol which you then own. You own the protocol, you govern the protocol, and you earn a universal basic income from the protocol's output by becoming a citizen. So just check out the Discord, check out the website, see if you like what you see. We are more than happy to help in any way we can in the Discord. So come and check it out. Okay, guys, well, this has been absolutely freaking amazing space. I love it. Merry Christmas to absolutely everyone. It's been fantastic. I would like everyone to please throw a follow on each of the speakers up in the speaker panel because they've been fantastic. Native was up here as well, so make sure you follow him too. So greetings to our backwards fellow in Australia. I'd like to just say that we have the Cypher State campaign going in Discord, so that's something else you want to check if you go in there. Another way to get your citizenship. This is generally a weekly podcast. However, next week there will be no podcast. Christmas times have some drawbacks, and that means one less episode of Into the Cypher State. I apologize. I'm sorry, but we will be coming back on the following week, same time, maybe same time. We'll have to figure that one out. Actually, in any case, we'll be back the following week. Thank you all for joining, everyone. It's been absolutely amazing. On the way out, I'd just like to say Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Thank you very much, everyone. See you soon.